This is chapter 4, When Trust Breaks, the battle between love, loyalty, and letting go. So one of the hardest lessons I've learned on this journey for 40 hours is that sometimes the person you love and the lesson that you learned or that you needed to learn can exist in the same story. Someone can bring beautiful moments into your life and still teach you some of your hardest lessons. Both things can be true. That was something I had to understand during this journey. And it's 7 o'clock right now in Illinois. But because when you truly love someone, you don't just wake up one day and stop caring. It's impossible. You remember the laughs. You remember the adventures. You remember all the trips. You remember the conversations. You remember the dreams. And you remember the future you thought you were building together. And you also remember the moments that were real. And this is what makes healing so difficult, because sometimes you are not just letting go of a relationship, you're letting go of the future you thought you pictured in your head, in your mind, and that you're creating, the home that you wanted, the life that you're trying to create. One of the biggest foundations of any relationship is trust. It was bright out here. And without trust, your heart and your mind, they're fighting two total different battles. So your heart, it starts to remember the love, and then your mind, well, it remembers the pain. You start asking yourself questions, many different questions actually. What was real and what was not? That's the number one question. Then, was I truly valued? Was I truly chosen? And was I only needed during certain seasons, basically? And those are painful questions, ladies and gentlemen, because when I love, I do not just give words. I give my heart. I give my time. I give my energy. I give my loyalty. I give my support. I give my dreams, my goals, my visions, my future. I give it all. And when trust becomes damaged, you start trying to rebuild pieces of yourself you gave away to somebody else. The journey taught me a lot about boundaries, quite a bit. A relationship should never be about controlling someone. A relationship should be about two people protecting what they are building together. Trust, transparency, honesty, and respect. See, during this time period, there were times where I felt expectations were not balanced out exactly. Where I felt I was expected to create boundaries, remove connections, and protect the relationship in certain ways. But those same expectations did not always feel equal on my side. So one of the hardest parts for me was feeling like even maintaining a peaceful communication after a 25-year marriage involving family and my son became difficult. But seeing my partner have open-ended relationships where there are no children involved, still having connections, created hurt and confusion inside me. And that taught me something. It taught me that healthy love is not about one person having freedom while another person feels restricted. See, healthy love is two people choosing the same respect, having the same standards, the same protection for the relationship. And when emotional support and validation start coming more from outside connections than inside the relationship, that's where distance begins. And you start wondering, you start asking your questions again. Why am I not the person you come to? Why do you go to other guys? Why am I trying to build tomorrow while you still have doorways open to your past relationships? And why am I fighting for a place in a life when I already gave my heart? That's bothered me, and those questions hurt quite a bit. But sometimes the questions that hurt are the same questions that wake you up. I learned that you cannot force trust. You cannot force the honesty either. And you cannot force someone to see your heart. You can only continue becoming a person God created you to become. I also learned something that was very important on this 40-hour trip. It's probably more than that, 50 hours. Do not destroy someone you once loved. Do not erase every beautiful memory because you both had some painful ones. Do not allow disappointment to turn your heart cold. And tell your story from healing and not revenge. Because every relationship out there has two people. They have two perspectives and two imperfect humans learning lessons, basically what it is. So I had to look at myself too. I had to look at where I could grow, where I could communicate just better, where I could become stronger, and where I can learn. Because healing is not about blaming, healing is about learning. I cannot control another person's choices. I cannot control another person's healing. I cannot control another person's journey either. I can only control mine. So I chose growth. I choose forgiveness. I choose wisdom. And I choose knowledge. And the most important thing is I choose discernment and God. If you're going through something similar, remember this. Love requires two people. Two people communicating. Two people protecting. Two people choosing each other. Never lose yourself trying to prove your value. Don't do it. The right people will recognize your heart. And the right people, they will protect your heart as well. And the right people will meet you in the middle. You don't have to always just lean in 100% and go to them. Because sometimes letting go does not mean you stop loving someone. Sometimes letting go means you finally started loving yourself too. And this is chapter 4. Turning pain into purpose. And this chapter here taught me that your boundaries are the most important thing in a relationship. And you're supposed to respect each other's boundaries. And one person keeps breaking each other's boundaries, then it removes the trust. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of chapter 4. I'm going to do chapter 5. It is now 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think we're in Illinois, still on a road trip here, and still working on my first cup of coffee. But everybody have a blessed day. If this resonates with you, like, subscribe, comment, share. There's other people out there that need to hear it. Have a blessed day.